Have you ever woken up feeling a little off, like something's just not quite right, even though you went to bed at a decent hour? Maybe your chest feels a bit tight, or you get lightheaded when you stand up. It might just feel like part of getting older, but here's the thing. Sometimes those small signs are your body waving a red flag, and mornings, especially after 70, are when your heart is most vulnerable. Now, I don't say that to scare you. I say it because too many people think heart problems only come from big, dramatic moments, like running up a hill or eating fast food every day. But in reality, some of the biggest risks are hiding in the smallest habits. Habits we don't even think twice about, especially in the morning. And after 70, your heart doesn't bounce back the way it used to. So today, we're going to talk about 4 common morning mistakes that can actually trigger heart attacks, especially for those of us in our golden years. The good news? Once you know what they are, they're easy to avoid. And that means less worry, more energy, and a better start to every day. Let's start with the first one. It might surprise you. Getting out of bed too fast. It sounds harmless, right? But the truth is, your body goes through a lot while you sleep. Your heart rate slows down, your blood pressure drops, and your blood can become a little thicker because you're not drinking water during the night. Then suddenly, you open your eyes, sit straight up, and swing your legs off the bed. It's a shock to your system. For a heart that's already working a little harder due to age, that quick movement can cause a sudden spike in blood pressure, or worse, a drop that makes you dizzy and puts you at risk of falling. Both of these scenarios can stress your heart in a dangerous way. Here's what to do instead. When you wake up, take a minute, lie there, stretch a little, wiggle your toes, move your fingers, roll your shoulders. Let your body warm up gently, then, slowly, sit up. Let your legs hang off the side of the bed for a few seconds before standing. Think of it like easing your car into gear instead of slamming on the gas. It gives your heart and your balance a chance to catch up. Now let's talk about the second mistake. It's one almost everyone makes. Skipping water in the morning. Most people go straight for the coffee pot or maybe just wait until breakfast. But after a whole night without fluids, your body wakes up slightly dehydrated. And when you're dehydrated, your blood thickens just a little. That's enough to make your heart work harder to pump it, especially through narrowed or stiffened arteries that come with age. Even mild dehydration can increase your risk of blood clots, which can lead to a heart attack or stroke. That's why one of the best things you can do when you wake up, before coffee, before breakfast, is drink a full glass of water. Room temperature is fine. If cold water feels like a shock to your system, lukewarm is actually gentler on your body. Bonus points if you squeeze in a little lemon, but plain water does the trick. And no, coffee doesn't count. In fact, it's a diuretic, which means it pulls water out of your body. So if coffee's your go-to, make sure water comes first. You'd be amazed how much better you feel, clearer mind, steadier heartbeat, and fewer dizzy spells. It's such a small change, but it can make a big difference over time. There's also a third morning habit that flies under the radar: holding in your bathroom needs. It might sound unrelated to heart health, but let's talk about it. A lot of folks, especially after 70, wake up needing to use the restroom but put it off. Maybe you get distracted. Maybe you just want to sit for a while before moving. But here's what happens when you ignore the urge. Your bladder fills, pressure builds, and when you finally go, your body bears down hard. What doctors call the Valsalva maneuver. This action actually causes a sudden drop in blood pressure, followed by a spike. That swing can put serious strain on your heart. There have even been cases where straining too hard in the bathroom triggered a heart attack. It's not pleasant to talk about, but it's important. The solution? When your body says it's time to go, go. Don't wait. And if you have trouble with constipation or straining, talk to your doctor about fiber, hydration, or gentle stool softeners. Because something as simple as going to the bathroom shouldn't be a heart risk. Each of these morning habits might seem small on their own, but together, they can build up stress on your heart that's avoidable. And the beauty of it is, you don't need a gym membership, a strict diet, or a dozen medications to fix them. Just slowing down, drinking water, and listening to your body can protect your heart in powerful ways. If you're still here and this video is helping you, leave a quick comment below. I'd really like to know you're watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time. Tap the bell so you don't miss the next one. Let's keep going. And it can be just as dangerous as jumping out of bed too fast or skipping that morning glass of water. It's something many of us think is harmless, maybe even comforting. But it can quietly raise your risk, staying in bed too long after waking up. Now, it's tempting, especially on those chilly mornings when your bed feels warm and your joints are stiff. You might lie there, scrolling on your phone or just drifting in and out of sleep. But here's the thing. Prolonged inactivity after waking can actually make your blood pressure dip too low, your circulation sluggish, and your heart less responsive when you finally do get up. And after 70, that sluggishness doesn't bounce back the way it used to. The longer you stay horizontal, the harder it can be for your blood to flow efficiently, especially to your brain. That's why some people feel dizzy or lightheaded when they eventually stand up, sometimes even faint. But worse than the dizziness is the potential for your heart to suddenly have to catch up after being on pause. That sudden jolt can be enough to trigger an event if your arteries are already under strain. Instead, try to set a gentle routine. When you wake up, aim to be out of bed within about 15 to 20 minutes. That gives your body time to adjust without letting your system become too sluggish. Sitting up slowly, taking a few deep breaths, maybe even doing a few arm or leg stretches in bed before standing. These little movements signal to your heart, hey, it's time to wake up too. Now I know what you might be thinking, but I'm retired now. I can afford to take it slow. And yes, there's absolutely no rush. You don't need to leap into action. But think of it more like keeping your engine warm. Gentle motion is good. Staying still for too long? That's where the trouble sneaks in. All right, let's move into one of the biggest and most overlooked mistakes people make in the morning, especially after 70. And this one, it's not about movement at all. It's about emotion. Waking up with stress. You know the feeling. Your eyes pop open and your brain's already racing. Maybe you're thinking about bills, health issues, family worries, or even just watching the morning news and hearing one bad story after another. It might seem normal, especially these days. But here's the problem. Your heart is incredibly sensitive to stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. And guess when your body naturally releases the highest amount of cortisol? Right when you wake up. That's actually built into our biology. But if you pile extra stress on top of that natural spike, it's like throwing gasoline on a fire. Your heart rate speeds up, your blood vessels tighten, and your risk of heart attack increases. In fact, studies have shown that the highest number of heart attacks happen in the early morning hours, especially between 6 and 11 a.m., right when stress and blood pressure are at their peak. So what can you do? Start by protecting your morning. Before you turn on the TV, before you scroll through your phone or read the news, take a few minutes just for yourself. Breathe deeply. Sit quietly. Say a prayer if that's part of your routine. Or just sit by the window and watch the light change. Let your body ease into the day without that wave of stress hitting your chest. Some people find it helpful to write down 3 things they're grateful for right after waking up. Not a long list, just simple things. I slept okay. The birds are singing. My coffee smells good. It's amazing how a few positive thoughts can set a calmer tone for your heart and mind. And if mornings are especially rough for you, it's okay to ask for help. That stress doesn't have to be your burden alone. Whether it's talking to someone you trust, adjusting your medications, or even skipping the morning news altogether, small changes can ease that emotional weight and lower your risk more than you might realize. Let's take a step back for a moment. All of these habits, how you move, how you hydrate, how long you stay in bed, and how you handle stress, might seem like small things, but they all stack up. Think of your heart like a sponge. It can handle a lot, but only up to a point. If you start every day squeezing it with stress, skipping water, rushing around, or lying still too long, it starts to strain. Day after day, that strain adds up. But here's the good news. The reverse is also true. Gentle movement, a glass of water, deep breaths, and a moment of calm. Those stack up too. And every time you choose one of those small actions, you're protecting your heart in a way that really matters. If you're still here and this video is helping you, leave a quick comment below. I'd really like to know you're watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time. Tap the bell so you don't miss the next one. Let's keep going. It can either support your heart or increase your risk without you realizing it. I'm talking about morning medication. Now don't worry, I'm not going to tell you to stop taking your meds. Quite the opposite, actually. The issue isn't the medicine itself. It's how and when we take it. And for many people over 70, especially those with heart conditions, blood pressure issues, or diabetes, this is a bigger deal than most folks realize. Here's the problem. A lot of people take all their medications the moment they wake up, often before eating or drinking anything. But some medicines, especially ones for blood pressure or heart rhythm, can drop your pressure too quickly if taken on an empty stomach. If your blood pressure plummets first thing in the morning, your heart may struggle to keep up, and that sudden dip can be dangerous. In some cases, it can even trigger fainting or an irregular heartbeat. Not the best way to start your day. So here's what to do. Talk with your doctor or pharmacist and ask, is it okay if I eat or drink before I take this? Some medications actually work better after a light breakfast. Others may need to be spaced out. You might be surprised how many issues, like morning dizziness, fatigue, or even chest discomfort, can be eased just by adjusting the timing. And if you're on multiple prescriptions, Consider using a pill organizer that splits doses between morning, noon, and night. That way, your body isn't overwhelmed with everything at once. It's not just about staying on schedule. It's about protecting your heart from sudden changes. Also, keep in mind that hydration plays a role here too. As we talked about earlier, starting your morning with water helps thin your blood and prepare your system for any medications you're about to take. It's a simple thing, but it gives your heart a little buffer, especially if you're on diuretics or meds that affect your fluid levels. Now, before we wrap up, let's pull all this together for a moment. If you're over 70, your heart needs a little extra care in the mornings. It's not about fear, it's about awareness. Knowing how your body works and giving it the respect it deserves. Waking up slowly, easing into movement, hydrating first thing, protecting yourself from emotional stress, and being thoughtful about medication timing. These are the kinds of habits that can help you live stronger, longer, and with more peace of mind. And no, you don't have to be perfect. This isn't about getting everything right every single day. It's about noticing what your body is telling you and responding with care instead of rushing through the morning on autopilot. Think of your heart as a partner in your day. It's been with you a long time. It's carried you through ups, downs, stress, love, loss, laughter, all of it. And it's still beating, still showing up for you every single day. The least we can do is show up for it too. Small adjustments done consistently are powerful. They don't take much time. They don't cost a thing, but they can help prevent the kind of sudden heart events that change everything in an instant. And that's worth paying attention to. So take a moment tomorrow morning. Sit up slowly. Drink your water. Breathe deeply. Check in with yourself. And instead of rushing into the noise of the day, give yourself a few quiet minutes to get centered. You deserve that kind of start. If this video spoke to you, if you learned something helpful, or you've experienced any of these habits yourself, I'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts or your morning routine in the comments below. You might inspire someone else who's going through the same thing. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want more down-to-earth tips for living healthier, longer, and with more ease after 60. We talk about real stuff here. No hype. No scare tactics, just useful advice for people who've lived long enough to know what matters. Here's to mornings that feel a little easier, to hearts that beat a little steadier, and to living your best life at any age. Take care of yourself and take your mornings seriously. They matter more than you think.